Okay, people are flocking to Franklin, Tennessee and moving here like crazy. A lot of people, when they're researching the Nashville area and thinking about moving to Middle Tennessee, they're looking at Franklin, and for a lot of really good reason. It's a really cute town. There's a lot of things to love about Franklin, but there's also some things that maybe people don't love. And so it's just important to kind of know all the good, the bad, and the ugly about a place. And so today we're going to talk about all of that for Franklin. So you're going to want to stay tuned. We're going to keep it real on this, and we're going to talk about some of those good, bad, and ugly things about Franklin. I'm going to give you 7 pros and 7 cons to living in Franklin. So if you're thinking about living here, you're going to want to stay tuned for this. Okay, let's jump right off with the first pro. Okay, and starting off with that first pro is going to be the nightlife. So here in Franklin, yes, you are super close into Nashville, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, but you have tons of nightlife here in your own Franklin area. So a lot of the suburbs out here can be a lot more quiet and a little bit more sleepy. And Franklin has parts that are like that. So if you want to kind of be out in the country and things, you can do that. But there's a lot of nightlife, a lot of things to take advantage of in Franklin. If you're looking for places to go out, if you like to go out and do things, catch live music, there's plenty of that in the Franklin area. So you're gonna have really cool places like JJ's Wine Bar. If you want to catch live music, Kimbrough's Pick and Parlor is super fun in that historic downtown Franklin area. And then you're gonna have other places for live music too. Tons and tons of places for that. So you've got the Mockingbird Theater and the Red Wheel, which are both gonna be located at the Factory, which is a really cool place for shopping in the Franklin area. It's an old factory that they've turned into different shops, restaurants, all of that. So this is a really cool place. And then you can also find places for live music a little closer in towards the Cool Springs area as well. So you've got the Whiskey Room and Tin Roof if you're looking for more live music over that direction. And then we cannot forget Leaper's Fork. This is going to be out on the west side of town. You got Fox and Lock out there, which has great open mic nights, and they've got other nights with live music. So tons of great live music all over in the Franklin area. So you don't even have to go into downtown Nashville to find that. You've got it right here in the Franklin area. And then in that same factory, you're going to have a really cool cocktail bar. So you're going to have some cocktail bars in and around, wine bars. You've got whiskey distilleries. And then you're also going to have a lot of places that are going to have things like trivia nights and things like that. So if you like to go out and do trivia, there's lots of restaurants and different bars and things that have trivia nights. So if you like to go out, so tons of things to do as far as nightlife goes in the Franklin area, which is nice because as I mentioned in some of those other suburbs, sometimes they're going to be a little bit more quiet, a little bit more sleepy. And so there might be less to do if you're looking for places to go out and watch live music, play trivia, things like that. So lots of that to do in the Franklin area. Okay, but there are cons. So let's start talking about the cons as well. So our first con is going to be the cost of housing. So this one you probably might have been able to guess, but as people have moved into the area, a lot of people have been moving here. It's really driven the housing prices up a lot. So your cost of housing has gotten pretty high here. So just to kind of show you as an example, right now the average home price in Franklin is 1.2 million, which is pretty high for an average home price. And then the median is going to be 907,000. So both of those really high for the Franklin area. We want to compare that to the Mount Juliet area, which is going to be another suburb in the Nashville area. Their average home sale price is about $683,000. So it's going to be about half the price of Franklin. So you're spending about double to be in Franklin than you would in Mount Juliet. And then just compare that because Nashville is a little bit more expensive city now as far as home prices go. If you compare that to the national average is about $363,000. So you can see that, 363 compared to 1.2 million, quite a jump to be in that Franklin area. But if you're coming from some other places, a lot of places where my clients are coming from are going to be more expensive. So these prices are not like outrageous to them. Depends on, where you're coming from, obviously. But I don't want that to scare you because people think that they can't get a nice house in the Franklin area, for 600 to 800,000, and you definitely can. So 1.2 is the average, but you can find really nice single family homes in that $600 to $800,000 range in Franklin. It might be a little bit older or it might need a little bit of work. It might not be huge, but you can find really great homes in that price point in the Franklin area. So if that's your price point, don't let it scare you because there are plenty of housing options, townhome options, all kinds of things, apartments in Franklin. So if you're wanting to be there and your price point isn't 1.2 million, don't let that scare you because you can definitely find some cute houses. I did a full video on this once, just reviewing some of the homes that were out there kind of in that price point, just to show you. It's a little bit older, but I'll still link it at the end, and I'm going to link it right here as well. So if you want to click on that and watch that, it just gives you an idea of what you can get in that price point in Franklin, because you can actually get some really cute things, even walking distance to downtown historic Franklin, which is kind of fun. Okay, jumping back to our pros. Pro number 2 is going to be restaurants. So there's tons and tons of great restaurants in Franklin, plenty of places to try. So you're going to have fine dining options here, and you're going to have more casual dining, fast food, tons and tons of things here. So you're going to have a little bit nicer restaurants like Cork and Cow. You're going to have the Red Pony. You'll also have places places like Gray's on Main. These are going to be all in that downtown historic Franklin area. Places like Biscuit Love, which are really, really good. You've got great coffee shops down here. You've got the Coffee House at 2nd and Bridge, which is an absolute favorite of mine. Lots of really great places. You're going to have independent restaurants down here. And then you'll also have some more national brands as well. You'll have like Perry's Steakhouse and things like that over more towards Cool Springs. J. Alexander's. Sperry's is an upscale favorite in Franklin. People love it there. But then you're also going to have things like Puckett's, which is also going to be in that downtown historic area. And they've got great Southern food. Definitely recommend trying Puckett's as well as Merides. So there's going to be a lot of really great places to go eat. No matter what you're looking for in terms of cuisine, there's tons and tons of great things. A brand new restaurant that just came to the factory in Franklin, Two Hands, is supposed to be amazing with an incredible chef. So just lots of great places to try. We're compiling a list of all of these. So if you're looking for great places to eat while you're here, definitely reach out to me and we can get that list to you as well. But lots of great places to try. No matter what kind of cuisine you're looking for, there's tons and tons of great places to eat all in and throughout Franklin. Okay, jumping to con number 2, that is going to be the traffic. So traffic here has gotten fairly bad. So Franklin has been growing and growing with tons and tons of people moving here, as you can imagine, and that does something to infrastructure. So for sure, they're trying to keep up with all of those people moving here, and it definitely depends on what part of town you're in. You can be in more quiet parts of town that don't have as much traffic, but if you're kind of in that, downtown corridor or heading out like towards that historic downtown area or the Cool Springs area, you're definitely going to see a lot more traffic. And of course, as more neighborhoods and things are built, there's going to be more traffic as more people move in. So that's just the growing pains of living somewhere where everyone wants to live, but you are going to run into some traffic here in the Franklin area and along that I-65 corridor for sure. So, if you want to be totally removed from traffic, probably going to be a little bit tough no matter where you're moving in the Nashville area, because a lot of people are moving here. And with that, you're just going to experience more traffic. So it's just something that you have to live with. But compared to other places, and again, it kind of depends on where you're coming from. So, other cities I feel like have way worse traffic than we do. So for me, I don't think it's terrible. I also don't drive a lot of times during the peak rush hour times. So I do try to avoid that as much as possible. So, but traffic can definitely be a con if you're moving here from out of state, especially if you're moving from somewhere that doesn't really have any traffic. Okay, jumping up to pro number 3 is going to be the variety of different kinds of housing that you can find here. So you can just find tons of different types of living in the Franklin area. So as you may have seen in the downtown historic Franklin area, there's a whole historic district with really cute historic homes where you can walk and kind of have that city vibe, walking down to coffee shops and restaurants and all of that. So if you want that, historic downtown feeling where you can walk to everything, you've got that kind of in that downtown historic center. You've also got neighborhoods like West Haven that are going to have tons and tons of amenities, homes on smaller lots, lots and lots of activities, farmers markets, all of that. So you've got neighborhoods like that. And then you're also going to have lots of like rural properties. If you're looking for equestrian and out in the country, you can find that here too. And I just find that is, one of the really great things about living in Franklin is that, you can find kind of whatever you're looking for. If you want that more city downtown vibe and a brownstone, you can find that. But if you want to be out in the country, you want to have horses and you want to be able to see the stars with no light pollution, there are places where you can do that as well. And that is one of the things to me that makes Franklin so great, is that you kind of get the best of all worlds, and you can kind of live whatever lifestyle you want in the Franklin area. Okay, moving on to con number 3, you're probably going to need a car if you're living in the Franklin area. Now, of course, if you're living, like I was just talking about in that downtown historic center and you're just walking to places, you can probably get away with not having a car. But if you're living kind of outside of that, you're probably going to need a car. So Tennessee, it's very spread out. There's not a lot of things that are within walking distance to different neighborhoods unless you're kind of close to that downtown center. So that is one thing, just in a lot of different places where you're going to live in the Middle Tennessee area, you're probably going to need a car. Public transportation is not the best, not a huge transit system in the Franklin area, especially in comparison to some other big cities and things like that. So if you're going to live here and you're wanting to walk, you're probably either going to want to live close to that downtown historic center, or you're probably going to want to live in a place like West Haven that's got shops, restaurants, groceries, all of that right there contained in your own neighborhood. But there's not lots of neighborhoods like that. So probably you're going to want to have a car if you're living here. And if you're used to not having one, that might be a con for you. Okay, moving on to pro number 4, and that is going to be location. So Franklin is located in a really great location just south of Nashville. If you're commuting into Nashville, it's going to be so easy for you. So kind of depending on where you are, might take you 25 to 45 minutes to get into downtown Nashville. It's super convenient. You're going to be 45 minutes if you're on the way west side of Franklin, Franklin probably, but from most areas, you're going to be about, 25 to 30 minutes to get into downtown Nashville with no traffic at all. And then also to get over to the airport, it's going to be about the same. It's going to be about 25, 30 minutes to get over to the airport. So really convenient. You've got Brentwood close, you're close over to that west side where the Natchez Trace is, where you can go hiking and have outdoor activities. So you're really convenient to outdoor activities, downtown Nashville if you're wanting to do that, the airport. And then you've also got some lakes, which are in pretty close proximity as well. It's going to take you about 40 minutes to get over to Percy Priest, probably if you wanted to go to that lake, and about 40 to get up to Old Hickory Lake. So just a really great location in great proximity to a lot of things that you're going to want to have access to. Okay, con number 4 is going to be that it's getting pretty crowded. So as I said before, a lot of people are moving to Franklin and they're moving here for the charm. So, and people are just so nice here. So, when you come here, you'll understand it's kind of hard to convey probably in videos, photos and things. But when you just come, it just kind of has a charm to it that people tend to love. So when they come here, they really fall in love with Franklin. So a lot of people are moving here. So if you're looking for a really small town vibe, some of that has disappeared in some of the areas. But the great thing is there's still lots of rural places. There's still lots of country houses. And as I said before, with the variety of different kind of housing that you can get, there are neighborhoods that are tucked away, that are farther out, where there's no traffic, no lights, all of that. So there is a place where you can go and live and just kind of have that quietness. But if you're going into that downtown, it does still have that small town feel because you've got that charming little historic center. And actually, if you go out to Leapers Fork on that west side, that is that does actually have a very small town feel. So you can get that out on the west side, but if you're kind of in that main section of Franklin where Cool Springs is and that historic downtown, there's definitely a lot more people down there. It's feeling a little bit more crowded, but it does still have that small town feel and that small town charm, even with all those people there. So it is a great place, but there are a lot more people here now. Okay, and up to pro number 5. So this is going to be the weather. So the weather here is phenomenal. And you will hear people complain a little bit about the summer heat here, but I've timed it the last several years just so that I can kind of know what I'm talking about, make sure I'm not saying anything wrong. But it's really about 3 months of some pretty intense heat, but it's actually not unbearable. And once those 3 months are over, the rest of the year is absolutely beautiful. And even with that heat in those 3 months, you're looking at, a few months in the 90s, but the humidity is not always off the charts. And it's definitely not as humid as a place like Florida. So it can get sticky on some of those days, but it's not terrible. And then again, it's really just, maybe June through August. And then it tapers off and it is some of the most beautiful weather that you've ever seen. Our winters are so mild. You just get a couple of light dustings of snow, which is super great. It's enough to make the kids happy and feel like they got some snow, but not so much that you're digging yourself out of snow drifts. Fall and spring are absolutely beautiful. And the humidity is way down in all of the rest of the seasons. So it actually just feels really great. So the weather here is wonderful. You've got all 4 seasons, and those hotter summer months just kind of make you appreciate a little bit more those other months as well. Okay, and then my con for number 5 is also going to be the weather. So, like I said, some people may really not like those hot summer months, and some people may not like the snow. So this could be a pro or a con for you, just kind of depending on how you feel about these things. If that hot is too unbearable for you for those 3 months, this may not be the place for you because it does get pretty warm during those 3 months. And if you like to be outside running, people do it. I'm not that hardy. I can't do that. I don't like to go out and run in the heat and humidity. But if you're one of those people, you love to be out running and biking, and then you just feel like that's too hot, this might definitely be a con for you, are those hot months in the summertime. So definitely something to consider. I always tell people, just come and visit. See what you think. Like, come and visit in July. That's going to be one of your hottest months. So come, see how it feels. And if you can live with it, great. If you can't, great. It also does rain a lot, especially in the springtime. So you might feel like, you're getting a little depressed if you're seeing a lot of rain. I've seen people say that they felt like they moved to Seattle, but the truth is that Nashville gets more rain than Seattle. So Seattle gets more drizzle. We get more like downpours. So we do get more inches of rain than actually Seattle. So, but that is what makes our landscape so beautiful. It keeps the grass green, the trees growing, and the lakes full. So, you gotta love the rain. You take one with the other. You get all the rain and you get all the pretty flowers and the really pretty springtime. So those things kind of go hand in hand. So if you can't handle the hot and the rain, then that might be a real con for you. Okay, number 6 pro is going to be cost of living. So yes, the housing costs here are a lot. And of course, this is going to be, comparable to other places in other cities. But our cost of living here is fairly low, especially if you're considering things like, everybody knows that Tennessee has no state income tax. So of course we have that going for us. That's kind kind of a no-brainer for everyone. But also our property taxes are very low. So especially in Franklin, Williamson County area, so you can kind of figure about 0.5% on the purchase price of the home is going to be kind of where your property tax lands. So that's going to be quite a bit lower, even 4 times lower than a lot of states like Texas and other places. So our property taxes are going to be a lot lower. I know their housing prices are going to be a lot lower in Texas, but our property taxes are a lot lower as well. So, maybe they kind of even out. But I know our homeowners insurance, car insurance, and then our utilities and things tend to be a lot lower here in Tennessee as well in comparison to some of the other states where a lot of people are moving from. I get that feedback a lot. So cost of living definitely going to be a pro here. Probably going to make up some of that money that you spent on your house in your cost of living here. Okay, and number 6, con. So these are going to be our windy back roads. So this is something that people don't think about, and people are starting to catch on to it a little bit more now, and they will speak up and just tell me that if they're moving here, they don't want to be on some of these windy back roads that you find to get to some of these neighborhoods. So while some of the neighborhoods may be off these main roads closer to the highways, you're gonna have wider roads with a lot of lights to get there, but some of these neighborhoods are gonna be back on these country roads that were not meant to be traveled by all the traffic that has moved here from other states. So you will find some of these neighborhoods that are gonna be a little bit further out, and you're gonna have just a 2-lane road to get there. And a lot of them, you can see it right here. So there's not gonna be a lot of shoulder on these roads. They're gonna be really narrow. They're gonna be windy. And these can actually scare people. I actually saw somebody one time on a Facebook group that was here out of town looking at houses and said they cried after driving on some of these back roads at night in the dark. And they just wondered, is anybody going to put streetlights out here? Probably not, at least not anytime in the near future. So if that's something that you don't like, or that's a con for you, we can always focus and concentrate on neighborhoods that are going to be closer in and that you don't have to travel on some of those windy back roads to get there. But it can be challenging, and it can be a little bit scary if you're not used to it. If you're used to having all the grid roads and tons of lights at night, it can be, a little bit different to be driving on these windy, dark back roads at night or even during the day. So that might be something to think about if you don't like driving on those windy back roads, maybe don't live out in those areas, but that definitely could be a con for you. Okay, and number 7, pro, is going to be outdoor activities. So there's tons and tons of outdoor activities to take advantage of in Franklin. If you are an outdoorsy person, you are going to love it here. So there's lots and lots to do. So we're going to have lots of parks. We're going to have lots of trail systems. You're also going to have access to a lot of hiking trails, especially kind of out on the west side of town, out towards Leapers Fork, the Natchez Trace Parkway. You're going to have tons of hiking trails out there, some that go to waterfalls, absolutely beautiful. And speaking of the Natchez Trace Parkway, this is a parkway that goes all the way from Mississippi into Tennessee. It's hundreds of miles, and a lot of people really like to bike this. So if you're a cyclist, this is a great place to go bike. You can run. It's also a great place for motorcycles. You've got no stoplights, right? And it's just beautiful and scenic the entire way. So you can ride your motorcycle or even just go for a drive. People love the Natchez Trace Parkway. You're also going to have things like the Harpeth River here. So if you like to canoe, kayak, get out and fish, this is a great place to do that. And then there's hiking trails all along the Harpeth River as well. And it's just a great place to go cool off in the summer and spend some time. There's a lot of access points to get to the Harpeth at different parks and things like that. Lots of different places to put in your canoes and kayaks. So this is a great place. People love the Harpeth. And then we're just going to have tons of parks in and throughout Franklin as well. So whether it's just to be to get your kids out and get some playground time, get your pets out, lots and lots of park systems here to get out and go and play sports and go run, just get some fresh air, have picnics, and then they'll do really fun things in some of these parks as well, like movie nights and things like that, different get-togethers. So a lot of outdoor activities in the Franklin area, so no shortage of that as well. But with those outdoor activities is going to come my 7th con, and that is going to be allergies. So allergies can be really bad here in Tennessee. It's one of the worst states for allergies. And I know it does depend, on what you're allergic to. So I lived in Colorado for a while. My allergies were way worse there, so I don't know what I'm allergic to, but whatever is in Colorado, I'm definitely allergic to that. I don't really have any allergies here in the Tennessee area. So my mom was kind of the opposite. Like, she had really bad allergies here and then moved out west and they were way, way better. And so that can be actually miserable for people. Sometimes you can just see the pollen coating your car here. So there is a lot of that here. We've got tons of flowering trees, plants, flowers, all those things that are going to put out a lot of allergens. So, if that's something that you're worried about or you're not sure about, this is a great thing to come and visit, especially, in the springtime or the summer when things are all in bloom and you're worried about it, because that would be absolutely miserable to come here and have to have allergy shots all the time or worry about that. So it's just something to think about. If you have really bad allergies, it's just something, to check when you come in town and just check in with yourself and make sure you know how you're feeling if you have bad allergies, because that's probably not something that you want to move here and find out that you're really struggling with. So allergies can definitely be a problem for people here. But Franklin really does have so much to offer. It's a great, great place to live. So if you're thinking about moving here and you have questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I've got people just like you reaching out every single day. I'm an agent in the area. My name is Jennifer Gramling, and I'm helping people like you relocate every single day. So if you have questions at all about the area, houses, any of that, don't hesitate to reach out. You can call, text, email, however you want to get in touch, and we can get any and all of your relocating questions answered. There's also a Calendly link in the description. If you want to book a time to talk directly with me, you can do that there as well. But Franklin is a fantastic place if you're thinking about moving to the Nashville area, but there's lots of other places to cover. I've got lots of videos on other suburbs, so be sure to check those out. Subscribe, like this video if it was helpful to you, and if there's a video that we need to make sure to drop that in the comments or shoot me a message. Would be glad to try to get that made for you if we're missing one, just trying to cover all the different areas so that we can get you all of that information if you're moving to this area. Thanks so much, and we'll see you on the next video.